Hello and welcome to Kashmatics. In this lesson, I'm going to go through some direct proportion and inverse proportion problems. The type of question I mean is when you know how long it'll take 5 people to do a certain job and you have to work out how many people it'll take to do 3 such jobs within a given time period. Now these kind of problems are quite popular in exams, but not only that, they actually come up quite often in aptitude tests, and hopefully the method I'm going to show you is going to be easy to follow and apply. So grab yourself a pen and some paper and let's get started. Now, when it comes to solving these kind of problems, I don't actually have any formulas or anything like that to help us. But what I do have is a common sense approach, which I hopefully can demonstrate and then you can apply. Now, let's have a look at this problem here. It says Bernard can eat 21 burgers in 6 minutes. How long would it take him to eat 35 burgers at the same rate, assuming he's got the digestive system to cope with it? Right, so what I tend to do is draw myself a table with the two things which are changing. So the number of burgers and the amount of time it's going to take. Now, what I need to think about is what increases as what one thing increases and what decreases. So, for example, if you've got a job to do, but you've got twice as many people doing the job, then it'll only take half the time. But if you double the job you need to do, then you need double the time to do it. Okay, so that's the kind of approach I'm taking here. Right, so I'm going to start by filling in the table with the information I've got in the question up here. It says Bernard can eat 21 burgers, so 21 burgers in 6 minutes. Okay. Now, what I need to think about is the number I'm aiming for. I'm trying to get the number on this side, the number of burgers, up to 35. Now, I need to think of a way of getting from 21 to 35. So they've got a common factor. The factor is 7. So let's have a look. If I only had to eat 7 burgers, okay, so 1/3 of the number of burgers, it would only take 1/3 of the time, and hopefully that makes sense. So that'll only take 2 minutes. And then from there, I can scale up to 35 burgers. So if I multiplied by 5, 2 times 5 would give me 10. So to eat 35 burgers, it would take 10 minutes. That was a fairly straightforward problem. So let's move on to something slightly trickier. So let's take a look at this problem. It says it takes 2 people 90 minutes to pack 66 items. At this rate, how many items can 3 people pack in 3 hours? Now, if you want to have a go at this question, please pause the video and give it a go. Otherwise, carry on watching and I'll go through the answer. So what makes this question trickier is that I'm keeping track of 3 different things: the number of people, the time, and the number of items they pack. So let's get our table up and fill in what we've got. So we've got 2 people and they take 90 minutes to pack 66 items. And let's just look at the question again. I'm aiming for 3 hours and 3 people. So I want this column to say 3 and this column to say 180 because 3 hours is 180 minutes. So let's see what we can do. I want to first of all work out what one person can do. Okay, so one person to pack the same number of items would take twice as long. So if I've got half as many people, it'd take twice as long to do. So that would be 180 minutes. Now, if you notice, I've already got the target number here. So that's fine. So then I'm going to see what happens if I scale up the number of people. Okay, I'm going to scale up the number of people. And I've got the same time. So 3 people in 180 minutes should be able to do 3 times as much as what one person can do. And 3 times 66 is 198. So to answer the question, 3 people in 180 minutes can pack 198 items. Right, next question. 2 people can build 4 identical walls in 3 days. At this rate, how many walls can be built by 10 people in 3.75 days? So just like before, I've got to keep track of 3 different things here. I need to know the number of people, the number of walls, and the time it takes. So let's fill in the information we've got. So we've got 2 people, and they can build 4 walls in 3 days. Now, I'm going to keep the number of people the same. So let's say I've still got 2 people, but I'm only going to give them a day. So what would they be able to do in a day? If I only give them 1/3 of the time, so I'm dividing by 3 here, they should only be able to do 1/3 of the amount of work. So 4 divided by 3, which I'm just going to write as 4/3. But I want the time to be 3.75 days. Oops, 3.75. And I want the number of people to be 10. So I need to get up to this number first. So I know what they can do in 1 day, but I've got 3.75 days. So I'm going to multiply that by 3.75 to give me 3.75 days. Sticking with the same number of people, they should be able to do 3.7 times as much work. So multiply this by 3.75, that gives me 5. Okay, so I'm almost there. I need to scale up the number of people. So I'm going to scale up the number of people by multiplying by 5 to give me 10 people. So if I've got 10 people, or 5 times as many people, they should be able to do 5 times as much work in the same time period. So that would be 25 walls in 3.75 days. So 10 people can build 25 walls in 3.75 days. Right, next question. 4 people take 5 hours and 15 minutes to dig a hole. How long would it take 7 people to dig the same hole at the same rate? Now, if you want to have a go at this question, pause the video. Otherwise, just carry on watching and I'll give you the solution. Now, in this question here, I only need to keep track of 2 things, and that's the number of people and the time it takes. I don't need to worry about the number of holes because that's going to stay as 1. They're only digging 1 hole. So this is what my table looks like to begin with. And let's put in the information. So I've got 4 people and they take 5 hours and 15 minutes, which I'm going to write as 5.25, okay? Because it's 5¼ hours, which is 5.25 hours, not 5.15. So just be careful when you're dealing with time. So let's say we only had 1 person instead of 4. Okay, so if I've got 1/4 of the number of people, it would take 4 times longer to do the job. So it would take 21 hours to do the job. But we've got 7 people. Okay, so I know how long it would take 1 person to do the job. So if I had 7 people, it would take 1/7 of the time to do the job. So I need to divide this by 7, and that gives me 3 hours. So 7 people would take 3 hours to dig the same hole. Next question. It takes 5 people 4 hours to check 125 items. How long will it take 8 people to check 200 items if they work at the same rate? Now there's 3 things you need to keep track of here, so bear that in mind when you make your table. If you want to pause the video and give it a go, please do so. Otherwise, carry on watching and I'll show you the solution. So this is what my table looks like. I need to keep track of the number of people, the time it takes, and the number of items. So let's just put in our information. So I've got 5 people, and it takes them 4 hours to check 125 items. Okay, and let's just see what we're aiming for. We're aiming for 8 people and we're aiming for 200 items. So first of all, let's just see what 1 person can do in the same time. Okay, so if I had 1/5 of the number of people, okay, you'd expect them to be able to do, or that person to be able to do 1/5 of the amount of work. So that would be 25. Okay, so I've got 1/5 of the number of people and that person can do 1/5 of the work. Right, so that's what 1 person can do. Let's see what 8 people can do, okay, because that'll give me this number here. So if I had 8 people in the same time frame, you should be able to do 8 times as much work. So that would be 200 items. And if I look at that, what I've got is 8 people, 200 items, and it takes 4 hours. And that's worked out quite nicely, and that's the question answered. Next question. 3 people take 20 minutes to clean the windows of 2 identical houses. If they work at the same rate, how long would it take 2 people to clean the windows of 5 of these houses? Now, just as before, pause the video and give it a go if you want to. Otherwise, carry on watching and I'll show you a solution. So this is what my table looks like. I've got to keep track of the number of people, the time it takes, and the number of houses they're cleaning. So I've got 3 people and they take 20 minutes to clean 2 houses. Now let's say I've only got 1 person cleaning these 2 houses instead. So I've got 1/3 of the number of people cleaning the same number of houses. Okay, so if I've got 1/3 of the number of people, it would take 3 times longer, so that's 60 minutes. But we don't have 1 person, we've actually got 2 people. So 2 people would take half that time to do the same job. Okay, so 2 people would take half that time, which is 30 minutes. Let's just write that again. 30 minutes. But we don't have 2 houses to clean. We've actually got 5 houses to clean. So let's just see how long it would take these 2 people to clean 1 house. So 2 people to clean 1 house would take 15 minutes. Okay, so if it takes 2 people 30 minutes to clean 2 houses, it would take 2 people 15 minutes to clean 1 house. So I'm only 1 step away from the answer here. I've got 2 people. I've got 5 houses instead of 1. Okay, so it would take 5 times longer to clean. So that'll take 75 minutes to clean. So the answer is 75 minutes, which you can write as 1 hour and 15 minutes. Okay, so either of those is fine. And that was my last example. And I hope my way of solving these problems has been helpful to you and that you've understood it. Thank you for watching and listening, and I hope you'll be back for another tutorial. Bye bye for now.